Hey everybody, I'm Nancie McDermott. We're in my kitchen. I wanted to go live again today, and I'm going live again tomorrow. I won't be long, but I wanted to share something wonderful that came in the mail. I think it was 2 days ago on publication day for a book that I have been waiting for, tapping my tiny foot for months and actually years, because I've known it was in the works, and I guess I got to see a picture of the cover when the author shared it on Facebook and social media months and months and months ago. And it's one of the first of the abundance of wonderful cookbooks that are coming out this fall and into the holiday season. And it's the biggest cookbook season of the year. It's really a cookbook harvest. And I just can't think of a better one to kick things off. It's called Life is What You Bake It. What a great title! Life is What You Bake It, and it's by Vallery Lomas. And Vallery Lomas is the winner of the Great American Baking Show. That was a few years back. And she has been cooking and baking and enjoying food all her life, but that isn't her first career path. Let's see, is this written out in a... No, I'll just tell you. So she is from Louisiana, I believe from the Baton Rouge area, but from Louisiana. Her family is still there, and so she's got wonderful Southern roots, Louisiana roots, and she went to law school, went to college, went to law school, became an attorney, and was working as an attorney, as a lawyer in New York City, and that was exciting and challenging and all the things that it was, a lot on the side. And she started a blog called Foodie in New York, and she became better and better known, and people loved her recipes and she's taking beautiful pictures. And she entered the Great American Baking Show contest and won first prize. And somewhere along the way she realized that the baking and the cooking and the food part of it was what she really wanted, so she left the lawyering behind and has been baking and cooking ever since. And she's on all the social media. She's a guest on the Food Network and the Today Show and all the TV places and in the magazines, and she's just been celebrated, and a lot of us have been waiting for this book. So it came in the mail, and I just wanted to share a little bit of it with you. Let's see, it's just such beautiful. I love this photograph. Isn't that hilarious? Her sense of humor, her big heart just comes out all the time in everything that she does. The contents: morning treats, cobblers, pies and tarts, cakes en France, cookies and bars, bread, donuts, and other fried things. She ends with a chapter, donuts and other fried things. Here's another fabulous photograph. New York City, getting out of a yellow cab, almost said a checker cab, getting out of a yellow cab with a pound cake. There you go. That is this woman. So I wanted to read you from a recipe that so I was, oh, sweets. Well, baking isn't just sweets. Life is what you bake it. I was thinking small, and I was flipping through, and here is cake pan quiche Lorraine. Isn't that wonderful? And let me read you. I thought this was a great thing to share with you to give you an idea. Makes 1 8 or 9 inch quiche, and let me tell you, it's a nice thick hearty one too. I thought you did really great work, and I believe that you contributed a great deal to our law firm this summer. It was the emphasis on I that gave me pause, a warning sign that bad news was coming. This is a dynamite head note. He continued, but we, the partners, talked it over, and we aren't going to be able to give you an offer. This is probably a case where it seemed like a bad thing that turned out to be a really, really good thing, because we have this book and she has this delicious life. This was the brief no offer phone call I received as I wrapped up my summer internship at a law firm. It was the summer of 2009, and in the middle of a full-on recession, law firms were laying off attorneys who were already there, not hiring summer associates, not hiring summer associates. I'm sorry. Law firms were laying off attorneys who were already there. Not hiring summer associates was the least of their worries. I was a just-turned 24-year-old, and I was crushed. This was going to be the grand finale of my many years of schooling, a job at a prestigious law firm, making enough money that I could pay back my student loans and eat at nice restaurants without worrying about how much the entrees cost. I decided to take my destiny into my own hands and find the silver lining, and that's how I ended up in Paris with 2 roommates, Victor and Emily. I hope I said that right. Each evening, the 3 of us would make dinner together. This wasn't extraordinary among roommates in France. Cooking dinners together was the norm. We cooked every night, and I learned a new, effortless, breezy approach to weeknight dinners. A quiche was as simple as unrolling a round of pie crust and fitting it into a pan with some whisked eggs, cream, cheese, and crisped lardons. A tart pan is too shallow to hold all the delicious possible fillings of a quiche, so I do something sacrilegious. I make it in a cake pan. And you know what I like? I, of course, have a tart pan, but so many people don't. But who doesn't love quiche? So it's also absolutely doable. Absolutely more doable for people without saying, oh, I'll put in an order and wait for my pan to arrive. For easy weeknight dinners, I use ready-made store-bought crust, but a homemade flaky pie crust, page 140, would elevate this from weeknight to wow. And add a simple salad for a complete meal, energetic, optimistic French roommates not included. Adorable. So I love that she's telling us about her time in France and presenting a French dish in an unfamiliar way, in a familiar way. Beautiful. Will, what you got for me? Pound cake, of course. I was glad to see this section. Perfect every time bundt pan release. See that pan? She tells us what to do in that challenging moment, exactly how to get it out of the pan. So much goodness here. Look at this. This is family, cooking with family. I'm thinking this might be back home in Louisiana. This is the chapter on bread. Let me read you if you're the kind of person who skips the bread chapter in baking books, stop right there. Bread may be a little mysterious, but it's one of the most satisfying things to bake, especially now that stand mixers and dough hooks have made child's play out of kneading dough. Bread's star ingredient, yeast, is actually alive, demanding a little extra TLC, but paying dividends. Plus, bread is the rare intersection where baking meets practicality. It's a baked good used for sustenance rather than celebration, though it certainly can be festive as well. And as I've said before, bread is the ultimate come-up metaphor. Like a phoenix rising from the flowery ashes, punch down, dough always rises again. I didn't know she could write. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. Listen to the bread chapter. Old-fashioned, old school dinner rolls. There's a family recipe. Cinnamon rolls. Challah. Zulu Babka. I'll come back to that. Hot skillet cornbread. Brioche. And New York bagels. I mean, what a lineup. What a bread chapter. Fabulous. And let me move to the evolution of dinner rolls. Oh my gosh. Cinnamon rolls. They're there in the pan with the icing on the side. Gorgeous photos. A beautiful, beautiful loaf of challah. Rosh Hashanah greetings to one and all. Yeast isn't scary, I promise. 2 pages on that, so it's so thoughtful. It's very, you hear her tone. That's how she is in real life, and that's what she wants us to have. So Zulu Babka is a beautiful cultural mashup. Challah, the traditional, it's always sweet bread of the Ashkenazi Jewish tradition, big in New York City, makes fabulous French toast. But this is Zulu Babka. The crew, Krewe, of Zulu was always my favorite Mardi Gras Day parade in New Orleans. And snagging a hand-painted coconut was the ultimate prize. The Zulu Social Aid and Pleasure Club, the large the largest predominantly black carnival organization, commissioned a signature king cake from my neighborhood bakery in Baton Rouge. Ambrosia Bakery, Ambrosia's Zulu king cake is filled with cream cheese, chocolate, and coconut, all the best parts of the Zulu parade. This chocolate, cream cheese, and coconut babka is inspired by that king cake, and this delectable blend of ingredients is irresistible. So, stories, nothing ordinary, nothing predictable, nothing predictable. Tiger donuts, squares. It's full of fun. Skillet cornbread. There's a southern accent, but it's not a southern book per se. Crawfish hand pies, lots of that Louisiana aspect. Peach crisp, tips on how the cookie crumbles. Sweet potato pecan waffles, and twice baked almond croissant. I'll stop there. I'll end with the recipe that I decided to make from the book. It's called Clafoutis. Clafoutis. My first French gâteau was not from a fancy patisserie. It was a homemade clafoutis by my French host mother. Here was a barely sweet single-layer cake studded with cherries and so eggy it flirted with crossing into flan territory. The crispy, near caramelized almondy edges and custardy center challenged my previous conceptions of what exactly cake could be. You can serve this warm. I like it best the day it's made, but you can also refrigerate the leftovers. They make an excellent breakfast with a cup of coffee. We'll find out tomorrow, Will. As a variation, you can substitute 12 ounces of fresh raspberries for the cherries. It's traditionally made with cherries and Vallery notes. My host mother said the traditional method is to leave the cherry pits in for flavor. This is one tradition I'm fine breaking. However, if you choose to leave the cherry pits in, be sure to give a heads up to those you share the dish with. Good advice. So I decided that would be the perfect thing to make today, because if you joined me last night, and if not, it's on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel, my first live in a while, I showed you muscadine and scuppernong grapes. And here they are in my clafoutis. So I decided that I would make this, but I would use muscadines, which are purple, on the outside, and scuppernongs, which are green or bronze on the outside. They're both sort of translucent greenish grapey color on the inside. They have thick hulls and they have big seeds, and they're absolutely wonderful, and it's a North Carolina tradition, and they just came in season. So I made this. This is a fabulous cake. I did not have a tart pan. She called for a tart pan. I have a 13 by 9. I was afraid it would be too thin and too skinny, so I decided that I would use my deep dish pie pan, and it worked just great. You could make this in anything that'll let the filling spread out, and it is so beautiful. So can you see the scuppernongs on closer to you and the muscadines closer to me? And I put the filling, which has ground almonds in it. And lots of eggs. I put the filling in, and then I just sort of placed all the ingredients around. Instead of mixing it all up, I wanted the red ones to stay together and the green ones to stay together, just so we could see. And it puffed up in an amazing way. And then after I took it out, 10 minutes after I took it out, it had settled back down. So that is, I was going to make whipped cream or have ice cream, but I didn't get around to that. But I've got a little whipped cream. I think we're going to anoint our slices. Okay, who we got here? Life is what you bake it. Tracy, how are you? It's good to see you. Gail, welcome. Glad you're here. Oh my gosh, she's here. How'd I do? What do you think? Pie pan okay? It's so wonderful. You are a magnificent writer. I'm going to read every word. Wow, it's a wow. You got to get this book, friends. Betty Ann, a fabulous baker. Gwen Higgins, oh gosh, I wish we were all together. We could cook this whole book. Hey Scott, how are you? The baking just won't quit. We've got all these wonderful look at this. We've got all these cooking people. Deborah, how are you? And Picnic, oh, sawadee ka. I love clafoutis. I make it with French cherries every summer, a cross between a custard and a cake. That's what Deborah said. That's right. It's an unusual texture, and I was so surprised there's no butter. And let's see, so there's eggs and flour. I just thought that there would be melted butter because I think of it as creamy and rich. Let's see, sugar, eggs, milk and cream, salt and vanilla, Kirsch or brandy, I didn't have that, flour and almond flour, and cherries, confectioner's sugar on the top. So simple. I mean, those are just ingredients that you've probably got around. Fabulous. So, Deborah, you make it every summer with French cherries. Do you leave the seeds in or not? Let me know. Betty Ann, am I sharing the recipe? Well, I will share that the recipe is in this wonderful book right here, and everybody should get it. It is such a treasure, and I've had it before, but I can't remember if I've made it before. If I have, it's been a long, long time, and I'm just so thrilled with the way this came out. And let's see, the book is Life is What You Bake It by Vallery Lomas, Vallery, Lomas, Lomas. Lawyer turned baker Vallery Lomas is living her wildest dreams. Keep on with that. I mean, it's charming, it's fun, it's sweet. And I think baking is intimidating to people. I find that as the author of a book on cakes and a book on pies, both of them are about home cooking. Both of them are, you can use, they're not, I'm not a pastry chef. It's about the kind of baking that my Southern people did. I just grew up, a lot of people like to bake and they did it. But I have been sitting ready to sign my book, and I've had people in the line come up and say, with the cake book or the pie, especially with the cake book, I want you to sign this to my niece, Sue Ellen. I'm not a baker. And it's kind of like, don't think that I'm putting on airs, or don't ask me to do something so hard. There's an intimidation, I guess, because things can go wrong. I guess because, don't let the oven door slam, the cake will fall. Or you put all the things together and it's in the oven, it's out of your hands. I feel like that way about making a roast. It's like, I can't do anything. I'd much rather do a stew or a stir fry or something where I can see it and play a role. But there is that aspect of baking, I think, especially in the USA. And everything about this book says, I love this. This is wonderful. Here's how you do this. Let me help you out with, working with yeast takes a little extra attention. Here's how we do it. It's not forgiving. If pie crust were a person, I'd want to be her. Relax and chill is her mantra, but she doesn't shrink away when things heat up. You need a show. I hope that is in the works. It's marvelous. Okay. Valerie says, looks perfect. This is a deep dish pie pan. I'll show you what I thought about. Where's my oval?
What?
Where's the oval glass pan?
I put a lot in the...
Oh, well, it's basically a 13 by 9 glass Pyrex baking pan. And it's oval, and it's just beautiful. I put persimmon pudding in it. I put all kinds of things in it. It's the same capacity.
Oh, it's in the dishwasher.
Okay, it's in the dishwasher because I use it. So I thought about using that, but I thought that's going to spread it out too thin. And I have a tart pan, but we're not. It's I thought this one is going to be okay, and then I thought, I can't do that, and it's like, what am I following the rules? No, pie pan works well. And Deborah says, Deborah does not leave pits in the cherries. So, and that's what Valerie says. She says, I don't mind parting with tradition on that, and I'm with you. I think it's fun to know that, and then I think we go ahead and do whatever is going to work well for us. Okay, Will, you want some?
Yes.
Clafoutis. All right. We're going to have dessert, and look at that pretty. I want to turn this one so you can see how beautifully the sides colored in the heat of the oven. Now this piece is going to be all, I'll dig in here and get a nice purple grape to put on top so we'll have a little color. But can you see Look how it browned. Look how nice it is. There's a wonderful edge, there's a wonderful crust, and then it's got the almondy look. It's absolutely beautiful. Okay, well, you get the red plate. We'll just give a little richness. I made it about 2 hours ago, so it has settled down. That's for you. And this is our dinner. It's been a busy day. I was doing an online conference, and I just never did get caught up with anything, except, of course, I found time to make clafoutis because that, priorities are priorities. Okay, so let's get that. So the texture is so interesting. It reminds me a little bit of waffles. What I was trying to think of the other things that are that unusual. It's a custard, but it's not like it's a different texture than, say, an egg custard pie or a quiche. But have a little bit of cream too. And Valerie, do you put anything on it, or do you just let it tell its own story? Cake. Oh my gosh. The almonds give it the most wonderful texture. I love it. And this is such a perfect summer dish. Cherries, of course, traditional, but peaches, we can cut up anything. You think about the size of a cherry, and what fruit wouldn't be wonderful? Blackberries, all the things. Okay, I'm going to check out the.
I eat it au naturel.
Au naturel. Okay, you don't need any. It doesn't need any falderall or frippery. These grapes have a very thick skin. And so I thought this was such a great idea. I cut them in half. I scooped the seeds out. And just as I was putting them in, I realized, gosh, this hull is really thick. And I wonder if it'll be too thick to eat, like in the pie. And I thought, you know what? If it is, it is. That's okay. But it's nice. It's got a crunch. But the heat of the oven does cool down. It baked for about 40 minutes. 40, it's probably 45. This may be thicker than it would be if you made it in a traditional pan. But the hulls of the grapes cook up very, very nicely. And they get sweeter. They get absolutely wonderful. Will, we're going to have to find somebody to share this with. Will did this. He didn't have a sweet tooth when we got together, but 37 years. I've brought him around. All right, so let me show you. So you can see it holds its shape. So it's not a cake in the sense of a butter cake, that has that dryness and the crumb. It's almost like a pudding, but the almonds are fantastic. The fruit flavor. I think if it were blackberries or raspberries, you might get a little bit of color around them. Cherries, I guess, probably just stay put. But I'm going to be making this all fall. You know what I'm going to make it with? Persimmons. I'm going to cut up persimmons.
That you tried a different fruit.
Thank you. Good. I went out. I'm living on the edge. I'm walking on the wild side just a little bit. Friends, highly recommend. I did not realize that you had spent time in France. I want all the stories. I'm sure a lot of men here. Lemon curd, hush puppies, wartime, the liberation of black women, and cake mix.
Deborah says it's really good at apricots too.
Oh my gosh. Wonderful, wonderful. So we're going to have to come up with a list of what it wouldn't be good with, and that would be a very short list. Too sweet. Okay, I'm going to leave you with a theme picture. I can't tell if this is peaches or apples, but it's cobbler time. It's baking season. This book has come along at the perfect moment, and I'm thrilled to have it, and I'm going to be enjoying it. And I'm so proud of you, Valerie. I'm so happy for you, and so happy for us that your spirit and message and knowledge gets to flow forth. And I'll be making this again.